Next, we have Bridgette. She's representing the Council for the ASAQS, Association of South African Quantity Surveyors. Very important because we can't just shift as practitioners, we have to shift as an industry. And she's going to speak about what that means for the QS discipline and how they're looking at their identity shift in this 21st century.
Hi everyone, I'm Bridgette from ASAQS, Association of South African Quantity Surveyors. I just want to find out my audience here. Am I talking to any QSs here? Yes. Okay, happy day. Alright. Just so that I know that I'm not talking to the wrong section. Alright, okay, so as I said, thank you, Karami, for inviting us, ASAQS, to be part of your event today. I'm Bridgette, I work for ASAQS. I do all sorts of fun things there. I'm a QS myself, QRQS, and I've been QRQS since 2014. I also came to UP. I finished in 2009, so I'm really new away by nature. But anyways, it's always exciting for us to speak to students because, quite honestly, you are the future of our professions. So today, obviously, I don't want to give you a lecture on BIM software or typical modeling because I think that there are many experts here who can already delve into that very in detail. So instead, I'd just like to spend about 10 minutes just talking about why BIM matters for your career and why ASAQS is so supportive of digital transformation. And why I genuinely believe you're entering the profession at one of the most exciting yet critical times in post-trade history. So the industry is, of course, changing at an incredibly quickly rate, and that's actually good news for you, all right? Because back in the day, even before I was QS, they were doing the cut and shuffle method, and I don't know if you prints and big long tape measures. So I personally even wonder if I was in the industry myself, if I had to do that, if I was doing cut and shuffle method myself. So it's just such an amazing time to be in QSing and to be part of the industry where there's so much new technology and exciting things happening out there. So yes, before I actually go deeper into the topic, I also just want to talk about ASAQS and where we come from. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with ASAQS, but we are a voluntary professional association representing QSs from all across the country. What does that mean? So you get, and I'm not sure if any of you are familiar, so you get the South African Council for the Quantity Surveying Profession, and they are a legislative body. So they are sort of the watchdogs in the industry, they govern the industry, and they are set up in terms of the Quantity Surveying Professions Act. Okay, ASAQS, we're a little bit different. So we are a voluntary body, all right? So we basically exist to serve and support the profession, all right? So it's not compulsory to practice. If you want to be a practicing QS and make your own practice, it's not compulsory by law to be a member of ASAQS, but we do serve to support the profession in many different ways. So we do quite a lot of things. We do, where do you even webinars? We do webinars, which is the greatest thing of all. So I'll get into that a little bit later, but I'll just touch on it briefly. We do a lot of stakeholder relations, advocacy. We deal with a lot of governing bodies in terms of putting together policies and representing the industry from that perspective. We do a lot of student support, young professional support, networking events. We have a career center where we can, if anyone is looking for to put your CV out there, there's a lot of recruiters that use our career center as well to help you to look for job opportunities. You can put your CV on there. If you're a member, if you're a student member, it's free. So please, I should have actually put it on the presentation, but please visit our website, asaqs.co.za, and if you are a student, you can become a student member for free and you can have access to all of these amazing things. Alright, so there's a lot of amazing things that we're busy with resources and technical publications, and yeah, I can't even sing our praises enough. I'll go on for, for a very long time. So yes, obviously we work closely with universities, alright, and we do that to help strengthen the profession and just to evolve the profession alongside, the needs of the industry in general. So for students in particular, ASAQS is passionate about supporting the next generation of QSs. And we really do, we believe in the development, that your development should obviously begin when you are students, all right, not just when you go out into the profession and you're applying for jobs and you start day one on a project. We believe that our support for you should start while you're still in university. So that's why we're so excited to be involved in initiatives like that, because BIM isn't simply about software, it is about preparing future professionals to work in a very collaborative, digital and innovative construction industry. Thanks, I'm going to move on. And as the QS profession evolves, ASAQS obviously wants to make sure that today's students are ready, not only to obviously participate in the future, but also to help lead. So then you can transition naturally into, so with this in mind, let's talk about why BIM matters, as opposed to just, sitting and sort of swallowing it and accepting when people say, okay, this matters. Now we are actually having events like this to say, this is why it matters. So yes, all right, my slide, the profession is changing. Yes, there we are. Okay, so if someone has asked what ASAQS did maybe 20 or 30 years ago, I think most people would have said, they measure quantities. And yes, we still do. But today we're also expected to do a lot more than just measure quantities. Because clients don't only want someone who can measure accurately per se, but they also want someone who can interpret information. So they want someone who can identify risks before they become problems. They want advice that helps them make better decisions. Maybe they, and that's why I like the phrase at the bottom of the slide. It says the question is no longer whether BIM will influence our profession. The question is whether we are ready for it. Okay. So we've gone from being custodians of cost to becoming custodians of information and custodians of value and risk. So BIM isn't changing what ASAQS stand for, it's giving us better information to do our jobs even better. All right. Our position on BIM. All right, so I've sung our praises now for quite a few minutes. So but where do we as ASAQS stand in terms of BIM? And the answer is actually very simple. We see BIM as an opportunity. So it creates better collaboration and it improves the quality of project information, obviously. But it also allows QSs to provide even greater value to clients. And most importantly, it prepares future professionals, and of course that's all of you, for the industry you're about to enter. The technology will continue changing as it always has, and AI will continue changing, but BIM platforms will also continue to evolve. But the need for QSs who understand projects and who understand costs and predictability, that will never disappear. All right, that's always going to be a constant in your career. And we simply, as a profession, we need to evolve with the profession. All right, so with that said, how can we prepare the next generation? Maybe I'm not the next generation. Hopefully I look like I am, but I'm not. I'm sort of in the middle there. But you are the next generation. So, and of course, one of our biggest priorities in preparing students and young professionals is, of course, for the future. So that doesn't just mean helping you graduate, it means helping you build a career. And as I said, we offer student support, we offer CPD opportunities once you qualify, we engage with industry partners, because the learning doesn't stop when you just receive your degree. And in fact, graduation is, like I said, just really the beginning. The people who continue learning throughout their career are usually the ones who become the leaders of our profession. All right. Obviously, now this is a big one for me because I face a number of challenges. I sort of went when I finished university. We were sort of moving away from scale ruler to 2D, and even that was a big thing to get people onto. So now you can imagine now we've gone up from that, and now we're moving on, and now there's even bigger resistance. All right. So yeah, and that's why this is probably my favorite side, because people do often think software, and but software isn't actually the difficult part. The difficult part in terms of QSs is changing the way we think. So every technology faces resistance. Of course, when I really went from the scale ruler to the limits and all that, we face resistance. And people do worry about costs, and they worry about learning something new, and they worry about changing, and you know, they've got their set ways, and they don't want to budget that. But it's important to remember that BIM isn't simply about creating a 3D model. It's about sharing information and collaboration. And, you know, it's just about everyone working from the same reliable information instead of different versions of drawings spread across different emails and different folders. I don't know if any of you have worked for contractors, but I did for a big part of my career, and it's wild. I mean, it's crazy. We're all working from different from different drawings, and this revision comes in, and then you haven't even looked at the previous one, and you're going wild, and you're doing variation orders, and then it's no sooner you've done one and you send one off, and you go to your emails from 2 days ago, and oh my gosh, here's another revision, and there's another. It's always, and like one thing one of my previous employers said to me, that's construction, it's never going to change. So if you're waiting for better days, or you think, you know, your project is being too harsh, or they're not being fair on you, or you're managing 6 projects in once and you just can't cope, it will never change in your lifetime. It's always going to be like that. Okay, and that is the truth. So it's more about changing habits to make your life easier in your career. Technology, of course, is easy to buy, but changing habits is much harder. And that is true in every industry. But BIM succeeds when you have collaboration and when you have a mindset of you wanting to streamline processes in your office and make it easier for you to do all of those chaotic things, running, doing your filing counts. I've got a site meeting here, I've got 6 POs that are waiting for me. Oh my gosh, I've got to measure this, there's 10 minutes due tomorrow. It's chaos. And by having something like this, it's streamlining your processes. It makes the world of difference in your workplace. All right, next one. Quantity Surveyors tomorrow. Well, we want to know what is changed, what specifically has changed. And I think this table, although it's very brief, it really captures where our profession is heading. Traditionally, of course, we measure quantities. Today, we interpret project information. All right, so we've evolved. We used to prepare disposal quantities. Today, we also provide strategic cost advice. And I think that really sets you out as a QS, especially if you've got your own practice. What sets you out? Because there's practices on every corner. You want to be valuable to your clients. You want to make a difference. You want to know you're providing your services in a way that's really, really valuable. And that, you know, when you finish your project, your client will be like, you know, really, I got so much out of this. The value engineering, the advice, the strategies, the cost. We don't just report what something cost yesterday. We want to have a bit of a forecast to see where our costs go. So increasingly, we're expected to predict future outcomes. And clients now ask questions like, what will this building cost over the next 30 years? Or what's the environmental impact? Or what's the materials, what materials offer better long-term value? And that's where concepts like life cycle costing and value engineering and sustainability and ESG and carbon reporting, those are all becoming extremely important because you'll find that a lot of QSs also specializing in niche topics are also finding it easier to leverage in the industry in terms of job opportunities. You know, if you can say you are specializing in something like value engineering or ESG, you'll find that there are companies that are looking for that. And they want people who specialize in those niche areas, and you'll find that that will actually give you an opportunity to leverage yourself for better opportunities in the workplace. And that's exciting because it means QSs are becoming involved in decisions much earlier in the project lifecycle, and we're no longer only measuring buildings, we're also helping shape better projects. All right. No one delivers a project alone. It would be easier if we could, but we don't. Construction has always been a team sport, and everyone depends on each other. So BIM simply makes the collaboration more effective, and everyone works on the same trusted information. Better information leads to better collaboration, and better collaboration leads to better decisions. And of course, better decisions usually lead to better project outcomes. And that's why I like the quote there that says the greatest value of BIM is not the technology, it's the conversation that enables it. All right, because the greatest value of BIM isn't actually the technology, it is the conversation. All right, so it's not just like, I mean, Dinex is a great thing, but it is a tool, it's software. This is something different. This allows you to collaborate. And what does this mean for your career? Firstly, keywords, don't panic. Okay. You don't need to know every BIM software package in and out before you graduate. Employers don't expect perfection. They expect curiosity. They expect people who are willing to learn. And if you develop strong, curious fundamentals and combine them with digital confidence, then you'll immediately stand out. BIM skills are becoming increasingly important, particularly internationally, which is also really important. And the good news is there are so many free resources available today. So, I mean, these are just some of them that I've picked up, but there's Autodesk Education, Building Smart, there's initiatives here at the academic institution, there's online learning platforms, and that's where we come in. So we do have a custom-made CPD program where we deliver live webinars, and one of the categories, the main categories, is digitization. So we, you know, we have different niche subtopics, if you want to call it that, under digitization, and a lot of we really what do you call it, magnify, or you know, zoom in. We zoom in on specific aspects of BIM. And it would be lovely if you are want to join ASAQS as a free member. You can get access to those custom names. There is a calendar, and you can see what webinars happening when. So yes, your degree opens online learning. You know, gives you the tools, but your degree opens the first door. All right, and we give you the tools, and your willingness to keep learning determines how far you go. And then my last slide here is just the future is yours to shape. I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Technology will continue to evolve, and our profession will continue evolving. And this isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. 20 years from now, some of you sitting here are going to be directors, you're going to be partners, company owners, you know, maybe you'll also be on the board of the board committee of ASAQS. And the decisions your generation makes about embracing technology will help shape the future of QSing in South Africa. So just stay curious and keep learning and keep asking questions and collaborate. And instead them as replacing quantity surveyors through peasants. I go online on LinkedIn, and it's like a mass hysteria, a mass panic in discussion boards that we're all going to be redundant and we're all going to be replaced by AI, and what are we going to do? So yeah, don't worry about that. Don't see them or AI as replacing quantity surveyors. See it as helping quantity surveyors deliver a greater value. All right, you have to go in with that mindset, and you have to move with the times, otherwise you're probably get left behind the movement. So thank you very much, and I wish you every success in your career.